When it comes to manifestation, when it comes to goal setting, achieving your goals, fulfilling your purpose, it is important to understand the importance of your imagination and how your imagination is basically the tool that you're going to use to actually get yourself there. Now, you may have heard this before, the importance of imagination, and this is where visualization comes in. And your imagination is essentially when you reference people like Neville Goddard, one of my favorite authors and teachers of spirituality and the law of attraction, the law of assumption. In one of his books, he even calls the imagination God. And what he means by that is when you are imagining and you are really using that power, understanding that it is a power, that it is not something that you just simply do for play or to, visualize and think of things that are possible and to problem solve, and or even for a lot of us, we imagine the worst case scenarios and we stress ourselves out and we create anxiety and depression and all these other things. Now, when it comes to imagination, what I want to share with you is how it works when it comes to you actually achieving the goal, manifesting the idea, actually creating the reality that you want to create. So what I want you to think about is frequencies. I want you to think about radio frequencies. I want you to think about phone frequencies, Wi-Fi signals, all those different things. And essentially, when one device connects with another, it is because it is on the same frequency. That's why you don't, say, connect with somebody else over the phone when you are talking to your mother, your father, whomever, right? You don't just randomly pick up the phone, dial a number, and it calls random people. Whenever you dial the same number, it calls that same person or that same device. It is because that number is the frequency by which you are connecting with that other device, right? Now, when it comes to the thing that you desire, the goal that you are setting out to achieve, you have to recognize that that is a frequency. That is a particular frequency that you are looking to dial into. Now, here is how imagination works. When you are looking to achieve that goal, the reality is there are infinite ways to achieve that goal. There is not just one way to get it. And a lot of times our ego will try to fool you in thinking that you can only achieve this by one way, one path, one moment in time. And that creates a sense of scarcity because the possibilities of you actually lining up with that 1 in a billion thing is what seems to be unlikely or even almost impossible. Now, the truth of the matter is you already are a miracle. You already have proven the impossible by simply existing, because your existence is already an improbability and you're more likely to win the lotto 4 times over than be born. But that's a whole nother conversation. The fact, though, is when you are imagining getting to that particular outcome, there are still a multitude of different paths for you to get there. When you use your imagination, as far as how you get there, what it looks like getting there, realize that every time you use your imagination to visualize that thing, it is somewhat different, right? How you get there is often slightly or very drastically different, but you still manage to get there. And that is really what you tend to focus on, is that part where you are like, okay, this is what I want. This is what I see happening. This is what I'm going to create. This is what I'm going to do. And there's a lot of variations, but they're very subtle. So we really don't acknowledge them and we take them for granted, but we just focus on the final destination of the goal. Now, it's important for you to recognize that all of these different variations that you are imagining, they are in fact you connecting and dialing into different frequencies. These frequencies ultimately mean different dimensions, different realities that you are tapping into. In other words, picture a path, right, which you are on, and picture these infinite forks in the road. And every time you imagine yourself getting to a particular destination, fulfilling a particular goal, the way by which you imagine it and all of the nuances and the variance of that is basically you taking a particular path, you taking a particular fork or a turn. And in each fork, you can still come to the final destination along your ultimate path. But it's just like there's one path here, and there are many forks coming off of this path, right? Infinite paths can come off here. And these paths, though you have this one path that you are on and you're trying to get to a particular destination, you have these other paths that can veer off, all right, and go a whole completely different direction, or they can veer off in multitudes and still bring you back to the main path that you're on, okay? Now, what I want you to recognize is your imagination is you channeling or connecting to a particular frequency of a possibility. That possibility actually exists. That possibility is actually happening. You are just deciding whether or not you're going to exist in that particular reality. If your consciousness is actually going to experience that particular reality. So it can be a little confusing because, as far as you know, you are in a single reality, but your imagination and the choices that you make, your emotions, your thoughts, the frequency that you are on is really what's deciding the path or the reality that you will essentially take. You have to be mindful about all aspects of yourself, your ego, conscious mind, subconscious mind, higher mind, and recognize the tools of your speech, the tools of your emotions, right, and your thoughts. And thus that will essentially decide the path by way of the frequency that you are putting out, the frequency by which you are projecting. Okay. So it's important that you recognize imagination is going to give you a lot of possibilities. Now, if you are imagining you being successful at this particular thing, not really caring about how you get it done, then that's great. But many times people are imagining wanting to get it done, but they are leaning more so in it going wrong. They're imagining things going bad. They're imagining things not playing out. This is creating anxiety, depression, all those things that we do not want to experience. And also creating the reality of those experiences. You are aligning yourself with that existence. You see? So this can happen in various ways. What I tend to do is I only focus on the positive side of me getting the result. Whatever that result is, this is the result I want. Now, what I tend to do is I will look for particular landmarks along the path of this result. I try to imagine that. I'm trying to say to myself, okay, for me to get to this point, there are certain landmarks that I have to achieve first for me to get here. So now that I visualize myself getting to that point, achieving and materializing that final thing, I have to then go to the first landmark. Okay, this is the first landmark. And then I have to visualize how I get there. Because I am constantly focusing on the positive result, I am first feeling great, feeling confident, feeling positive. I am at a space where I can do all the work and the action that it takes to align myself with that, whether it be training, whether it be practicing, whether it be studying, whether it be research, whatever it is, because my mind is dialed in to the positive frequency of that thing actually existing in my reality, or me choosing to exist in that reality. So you see how this is working? I am placing myself in a position where I'm leaning first toward the positive result. Then I am using my mind to break down the steps to this positive result. And then now I'm focusing on the present moment, the present situation. What is the thing? What is the first landmark that is going to get me there? What are the possible, likely options or ways by which I can do this? And then I visualize those things. Now you can break down which one is easier, which one is better, which one is more likely to be successful, and you can choose. But you also want to be continuously visualizing the positive result. You also want to be in a positive state of mind. You also want to be in a state of mind where you are positive, you are happy, right? You are confident. And that will lay down majority of the groundwork of it getting done. You simply then have to just walk into that reality. You just simply have to say to yourself, okay, this is what I'm choosing. This is where I can see, right, this path going as far as these forks in the road. And they're still going to a positive place. So do I really care? Not really. But I see these possibilities and I'm going to prepare for them. And then as you prepare for them and do the work, then guess what? You're building the confidence, because not only are you seeing yourself with a positive result, but now you are actually doing the things to prepare yourself to deal with whatever happens when you get to that result, when you make that landmark. And then you do the same thing for the next landmark. And then you just keep going until finally you have reached success. But many of us go the other direction. And what I want you to do is only focus on the result. Only imagine the reality that you want. No matter how infinite the paths can be, you have a choice. And so your imagination is the thing that is dialing you into the frequency of that station, of that reality. So continue to imagine yourself with the thing, living the way you want to live, being the way you wish to be, existing as your true self, fulfilled, happy, and joyful. Thank you so much. Feel free to visit drabundant.com, subscribe to my daily newsletter, and also get access to this free ebook, The Power Within. I also invite you to join me for Manifestation Monday mornings on YouTube Live every Monday at 7 a.m. Continue to join me on this journey. Peace and abundance always.